tons of brilliant movies out there that have been dosing us with sass, the same way Duke and Gonzo like to dose Tobey Maguire with, questionable chemicals, let's just say. I guess that explains why he's always so hyper.
Get out of the way!
Dude's going through withdrawals. Anyway, as I was saying, I love a good flex, so I started going through some classics, and oh boy, I found some absolute gems.
What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
I mean, I'm not kidding here. I swear by the beard of Zeus. Don't believe me? Well, I'll prove it to you like I'm Johnny Depp because, you know, I'm all about the truth. Anyway, this is the TV Regent, not a courtroom, so I'll zip it up with my defense and treat you to the biggest flexes in movies I could find. Stick around because we're gonna have some fun.
Imagine a king who fights his own battles. Wouldn't that be a sight?
We're kicking things off with a younger version of Brad Pitt, although it's kinda hard to pick which age suits him the best. Anyway, to the film now. Troy's gotta prove a point to his men, and he decides to do so by taking on this massive Imhotep-looking dude and his massive egg-shaped head. Also, his parents decided to name him Bulgarius.
Agrius!
The dude never really... Man, just watching this scene made me feel uncomfortable. After years and years of training his precious lemons to drag rocks the size of his head, Johnny English finds himself up against the MI6 traitor Simon Ambrose. Of course, it's Mr. Bean in a suit, so you know he ain't any good in battle, but then Simon senses an opportunity to crush his precious pebbles and gives him a nice whirlwind kick. I'm sure every guy must have been holding onto his crotch when he saw this, and you know what? I wasn't any different. But to everyone's collective surprise, the man is unharmed. Even Simon can't believe what he's seeing, and he tries to give it another shot, but Johnny just yawns in his freaking face. Man, I don't know about you guys, but having iron is the ultimate flex any man could ever claim. No, seriously, I mean, we can hurt ourselves simply by sitting wrong.
You son of a bitch! What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is no stranger to bulky muscles.
I've never seen anything like it. Up close, I mean.
As a matter of fact, I think he would have been an excellent addition to the Hulk's animated series. Can you imagine what an angry Austrian Bruce Banner would sound like?
Get down, get down, get down!
Who's your daddy?
Anyway, Dutch makes his grand entrance in typical Arnold fashion and gets briefed on his mission right before he meets his old buddy Dylan. Now, this is 80s action, so it's natural to expect a few testosterone-fueled visuals, but this scene kind of became the gold standard of alpha bros greeting each other. The muscle maniacs start arm wrestling midair, and honestly speaking, those biceps look bigger than my face. But Dylan doesn't know he's up against Mr. Universe. Arnold makes him sweat without even blinking an eye. To top it off, he roasts Dylan even further by asking him,
The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
man, that's total demolition right there. He didn't have to do him so dirty.
Stick around, and would blow your head clean off. Got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
And speaking of dirty, here's the OG vigilante cop who made Clint Eastwood a household name all over the globe. Dirty Harry kicks off his personal vendettas by taking on a bunch of bank robbers, and he shows no mercy whatsoever in taking them down with the most powerful revolver in the world, the .44 Magnum. He walks up to an injured robber who still thinks he's got a shot against Harry, but his chances go from good to bad to ugly, as Harry points the gun at him and blurts out the iconic line, "You gotta ask yourself,
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Yep, that's the actual line from the movie. I know it's been popularized as "Do you feel lucky, punk?" but I honestly find the original one a lot more sassy and authoritarian. He plays a little Russian roulette with his victim for a bit, but decides he's been savage enough for today, so he lets him off the hook even after getting insulted. Come on, bro, shut your potty mouth. You don't want to get beaten up by Batman, do you?
I got to know.
Being sassy is like being bossy, and if a monster could ever express that sentiment in a scene, then it would definitely have to be Godzilla at the end of The King of the Monsters. The dragon fire-breathing lizard finally defeats Ghidorah after going thermonuclear mode and is then visited by all the other titans of the world. Things seem to get a little confrontational, but then all the monsters bow down to him and recognize him as their new king. Godzilla obviously can't control his excitement, so he lets out a super roar instead and lets all his subjects know that he truly is their new boss. See, Daenerys, that's how you make them better bend the knee. Man, if only Mothra could be there too. I don't know what kind of sick relations those two were having before, but I guess everyone feels a little lonely sometimes. Oh, can you imagine what their kids would look like? You know what? Actually, I don't even want to think about it. Forget I said that.
Would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What a
Shaken, not stirred.
The name's Regent. TV Regent. Oh wait, that's the wrong line, right? Regardless, it's hard to say the word flex and not think of the sassiest spy to have ever walked the earth.
One of my friends sits this one out. She's just dead.
James Bond isn't just a movie character, he's a cultural phenomenon who took over the world with his hyper-masculinity and remains iconic even despite all the Gen Z hate. Of course, one of his most popular lines has been used in almost every single Bond film. You know,
Vodka martini. Shaken, not stirred.
man, I don't even know the difference between the two, but I can't resist the urge to use that line whenever I'm at a party myself. Now, this entry is more about the quote in itself rather than any particular movie because, come on, it's James freaking Bond for crying out loud.
Perfect.
He's all about the continuity, and that's exactly why he's always gonna be a legend.
Vodka martini, shaken, not stirred.
I'm sorry, we don't serve alcohol.
Where is she?
Look, it may take a while. Want to wait? There's a bench over there.
I'll be back.
For a guy who had a lot of difficulty with his accent at the time, Arnold sure made a name for himself with some classic roles. The Terminator was probably his most famous movie, and that's not just because he walked around in his birthday suit. The man also had some iconic lines, and none of them beats the fan favorite,
I'll be back.
The beauty of this moment is the swag in which he says it. I mean, could you imagine him saying it with the same enthusiasm as
Get to the chopper!
It'll probably just sound like Logan Paul trying to score another high-profile boxing gig. That poor police officer probably had no idea what was coming when he heard it, and Arnold makes good on his promise by indeed coming back and wrecking the whole place, just like Soulja Boy did to those poor folks at Herogasm. You know, minus all the questionable activity, though.
No, I can't tell you where I am, Mom. I was told not to say. I love you too, sweetheart.
Say hello to my little friend!
Al Pacino is a bona fide legend, so argue with the wall. The man has played so many roles and is still going strong at over 80 years old, whereas I can't even get off my bed on a Sunday morning. If you take out Michael Corleone from the Godfather trilogy, I think it's safe to say that his most memorable role was Tony Montana from Scarface. The sass comes right at the end of the movie when Sosa's men ambush him and Tony's left with no other option but to introduce the assassins to his little friend.
Say hello to my little friend!
I'm not sure that's how you say hello, Tony, but you do you, yeah? Also, that gun is definitely not little. Was he probably trying to flex his weapon so that he could compensate for another little friend in his groin? Maybe that's why he explodes in the climax. Anyway, the gangster rains fire upon his attackers and takes a lot of damage in the process, but he still comes out on top. Look, I know the skull shows up and kills him in the end, but you've got to admit that at least our beloved anti-hero went out with a bang.
You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
And there you have it. Those were the biggest flexes in movies that I could find. Like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on all my latest videos. And don't forget to head over to the description for exclusive access to my socials, Patreon, and Discord server. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.